We've started doing a new segment of the podcast here where we invite promoters on to speak about their events coming up. And with the Florida Pool coming up this weekend, I'm joined with Jerry Cantrell. Hi, Jerry.
Hey there, how you doing?
I'm all right. So just, I guess just start telling about your pool and how people can find out about it and go from there.
All right. It's going to be this Friday and Saturday, the 6th and 7th. It's going to be held at the Citrus County Fairgrounds, which is in Inverness. I started a pool in Ocala about 5-6 years ago, and I ended up moving it to Citrus County to Inverness mainly because we're under a covered arena, even though Florida sunshine is usually dominant in February. I had a rain out about 2 years ago, and when you got guys coming from 8 to 10 states away, I didn't want to be, a person that said, sorry guys, we're getting rained out, so I wanted to get it to a place where we could have it and not have to worry about that. So I moved it to Citrus County because it's a covered arena. Last year was the first year for it there. We learned a lot on the dirt they got under there, and so forth. So we're doing a lot of things different this year to make sure that, everybody had the same fair track last year, but this year we're doing a lot to make sure we got a lot better bitier track, and I got some different sleds coming in, and should be a good time. I'm hoping to, be right around 100 tractors if everybody can get through the snow that's happened up there in the northern part.
How many states you got people coming from, do you know?
Usually last year I think I had 10 represented.
Wow.
So usually it's about the same, and that's what's kind of unique about this pool. Obviously people like to warm up a little bit and come down for a weekend, or some people, you find out a lot of people come down for, a few days to spend some time besides just the pool. But, it's a good variety of tractors. That's what I like. I've traveled to Kentucky and pulled, and Georgia and different places, North Carolina, and I like seeing different stuff and meeting different people, and to me, that's kind of what it's all about, so.
What classes are you guys offering? You pulling any mini rods or just garden tractors, or how are you guys doing stuff down there?
This is our first year for mini rods. I've got a sled coming from North Carolina that is good for the small tire mini rod. I think it's up to a 34-inch tall tire. I'm running their rules for that class. But other than that, we are doing Outlaws, which are the motorcycle powered tractors. And then we got the garden tractors, which is anything from pure stock there to open single to open V-twin. There's a total, I think, of about 15 or 16 classes. I do run an exhibition class too. I got a good friend of mine, an old friend of mine coming from Ohio with his blower tractor. I got another good buddy of his coming with a 3-cylinder limited pro stock diesel, and
wow.
And we like to see the different stuff. So you come, we're going to do our best to hook you, and we're going to have a good time. That's what it's all about.
I think whenever I was talking to you about us coming down, you guys have pretty well everything from, stock to some 50 cubes, running. You're like a super stock class and stock for the kids and stuff.
Yeah. I've got a pure stock class for the kids. I've got a youth class for the kids, and then I've got a pure stock, that the kids can pull into. Obviously youth classes for beginners, we limit to first gear only. They go to pure stock, they can go up to different gears and stuff if they want and stuff, for as long as they can, drive the tractor safely, we don't have a problem with it. And then, we run a 40 cube and under class, which is pretty well a stock alder class. That's what usually shows up as stock alder tractors. I don't per se have a bunch of 40s that show up. That's not a normal deal. Most of them are stock alders. And then I go to the 50.5 cube class, which is what I call the open single. The rules are a little bit different, a little more broader, because when you're trying to accommodate 8 to 10 states, you have to open them up a little bit, and where people can come and pull, and, then we have quite a few V-twin classes. We got a sportsman class, which is for like stock V-twins, and then 45 cube and under, open twin, and so forth. So you just good variety, and there's always usually a place to find where to put somebody.
Awesome. What are you guys offering for prizes or cash back, or how you guys
I
doing that?
do,
Trophies, anything cool?
yeah, I do trophies. We got some really cool trophies we give out there. Aluminum cutouts, first, second, third places, and they've got the logo for the Battle of the Swamp on it and the class name and everything on it. And then I do 50% payback on the entry fee, for the top 3 tractors normally. I do have some sponsor money this year that's come in. So, I'm going to add that probably to like the 6 largest classes with the
Awesome.
most entrants. They'll all get some extra money added to their paybacks for that. But we do run in Florida, we run 2 different weight classes. So like if you show up with a pure stock tractor, you've got it right. You're going to have at least 2 hooks you can pull it. We're going to have a 1050 class, and then we'll make a second round with the 1100-pound class. So they can add a little weight here or there if they want to. And then, but they get 2 chances, they get 2 hooks. And then I also do what's called the King of the Swamp class. And, that's for single or twins. And, it's pretty much whatever they figure the best of the best on the property is. And, you could be a single pulling against a twin or whatever, but, it's a good time. People like to get in that class and just give it everything they got, and try to get the title and take it back home with them. So, but
Yeah, that's a really neat class idea there. The twins versus the singles. What made you
yeah,
come up with that? That's pretty cool.
it's just something we've done. We first come up at a poll in Georgia we ran into, and, they called it the Run What You Run class, and it worked out pretty good. And actually the singles seem to do pretty good. I mean, it's not always the twin that's going to win it, and, so it usually works out pretty good, and, it's very competitive. And, the bottom line is a single versus a twin, you can make all the power you want, but you're not putting it to the ground.
Yep.
That's the equalizer. So, and, it's an interesting class. I mean, I've seen it go, twins will win it. I've seen singles win it. You just don't really know, but, kind of a bragging rights class, and we do run 1 class of them a day. We don't run 2 weight classes with them. It's just 1 class, and I do a little extra weight. I think it's 1150. We do that class, and, kind of makes it even a little tighter, gives everybody more of an equal playing field. And, but it's a fun time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What's your preference, a single or a twin?
I'm a single guy. I've been around a long, long time, and long before twins come out, and I've always been a single person, and we've got 3 of them in what I call our stable. I've got a 50 cube, and both my boys pull 50 cubes as well. So it's a lot of family competition. And, so we do things a little different. I mean, I run a 50 cube overhead valve motor,
Oh,
which I
really?
know don't float in some places, and that's fine. Some places I go, they put me against the twins, which I'm okay with that. And other places put me in exhibition, and that's okay. I'm there to hook and have a good time, and meet people, like I said, and just enjoy the sport, so.
Do you have any vendors coming down? I know I've talked to you about us coming, and things just didn't really work out for us. You got vendors planning to be
Yeah.
there?
I've got, obviously it's a stretch for most of the vendors because they're up the northern way, but I do have some guys coming that's called me and they want to bring some stuff, and I told them they were more welcome to. And then also Dave Woods is setting up a table. He's going to have quite a bit of stuff for sale, I believe,
Awesome.
with Woods Performance.
All right. Where can people find information and all that good stuff about your pool? I know I see you share it
Nope.
on Facebook quite often.
Yeah, I share a lot on Facebook, and I normally tell everybody to share it, so it normally gets around to most of the polling sites. And then you can look up Battle in the Swamp. It does have a Facebook page, and my number's on everything pretty much, so they can call me on my cell phone, text me, whatever, and I'll try to get back when anybody's got any questions.
Awesome. Well, buddy, I hope everything goes good, and hopefully people hear this and decide to make a spur of the moment trip and come down and see you.
Yeah, we've got quite a few. I had some others call today from northern Georgia. They said they're going to make the trip, and I know I've got some coming from Virginia and North Carolina and South Carolina, and so everybody got that bad weather up there, so they're ready to
Yeah.
get a little sunshine on their backs.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir. We're from Southern Illinois, and
Yeah,
I think at the house we got about 14 inches of snow. So yeah, we would
yeah,
have liked to got out of here too.
yeah. I'm from Ohio originally, and like I said, I grew up in the sport. I pulled my first tractor when I was 5 years old, and my dad was actually a charter member of the Hilliard Garden Tractor Club, which
Oh really?
started the big pull in Columbus, and now they're in they're not in Springfield, they're somewhere else now. But
Jackson.
Jackson, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he was a charter member of them, and but back then things were a lot simpler. You had a couple classes, you had stock appearing and open, and that was pretty much it. But
Yeah.
that's back in the 70s, when that started up there. So in fact, I've got a hold of my dad's tractor. He ran it in the 70s and restored it, and we drove it to about 4 years ago. That's 5 years ago, and my dad's 80 years old. Now he's 80, but he was 76. I put him on the seat and registered him, and he didn't know he was driving it, but I let him drive it in Zelwood, and that was the last time I hooked to a sled. We retired it right after that, and it sits in a air conditioned room now, all retired. So, but
Well,
anyway,
that's certainly
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Well, buddy, maybe we'll be able to have you on here sometime as a featured guest, and we can talk a little more on that. I think that'd be fun.
Okay, no problem at all. I appreciate you letting me on, and like I said, anything to support the sport. The sport needs all the support it can get sometimes, and I think it's got a lot of potential. Just the word needs to get out there about it. So
Absolutely. Well,
Facebook and these kind of things is what's going to help that. So,
right. Well, buddy, I'm gonna let you get back to work here. I'm gonna get back to work myself, and you take care.
all right, sir. I appreciate it.
Yep. So we've introduced a new segment to the podcast where we feature vendors and builders and stuff, and just try to help get some information out about them. This episode, I'm joined with Mr. Nathan Hager. Nathan, you want to tell us a little bit about what you do and how we can reach you?
Build any type of pulling rear end transmissions. It's kind of me and Dad's specialty, so to speak, I guess.
So do you do transmissions for the stock builds all the way up to the super stocks? What do you try to go after?
Just anything we can help anybody with, whether it's a 2-3 swap or, all the way up to a, full-blown 4-speed with a 2-speed gearbox and, or whatever anybody wants to, with their own creativity. That's try to meet all people's standards, I guess.
Do you do any of the machining and stuff yourself, or do you outsource that, or what do you guys do there?
As far as the cases and inside the gearbox of the case and in the back of the case for the carrier and everything, ring gear, got set up and mill and machine that out for easier accessibility and make them a little easier to work on. And most of the parts buy either from Greg Hackman or Midwest Super Cub. And with any performance parts, there's a lot of tweaking and things that have to be done. So most of them are not a buy the parts off the shelf and throw together, so to speak. So
have you found a good way of just grinding out the cases for putting different size gears in there? I know a lot of guys that run stock tractors around here, they just get a die grinder and go to town and hope for the best.
That used to be the old method, and I shouldn't say I got smart, but I got lazy. And bought a couple long end mills and stuff to reach from the top with the gearbox, and then I have it set up on another mill with a short knee, to where I can drop in from the pinion bearing and cut the front of the case out, where it's nice and symmetrical and clean.
Yeah.
So, yes, sir.
Yeah, I've not got to mess with the transmission myself since I've got my mill. So I was one of them guys that ground, and that was not fun.
It's not. It's dirty and a lot of work, and to be honest, a little dangerous with some of those tools.
Definitely. Do you make your own 2-speeds, or do you outsource those?
I do not. I've used Midwest 2-speed a lot. Had a lot of good success with them. I've worked on several of the single Nichols 2-speed boxes, and then also the double gear boxes. Some of the older boxes that he had, and to be honest, all of them are good products. Especially for what we do to them.
Yeah. So, oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. What got you into wanting to build transmissions?
Well, actually, I guess it would be 28, 29 years ago. James Lee Aubrey that builds a lot of the tracks for GHR from Litchfield.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I cut my teeth pulling, and just like his tracks he does for GHR, his home track was a power track. Loss of traction was not an issue with his tracks, and pulling stock classes, we was hurting a lot of parts back then, and a guy that used to pull quarter scale kind of got us actually into it, Gary Barger. He was a very OCD kind of guy, and he would work on our transmissions, and we got to taking transmissions to him quite frequently, and one Saturday we dropped one off, and he said he wanted to know where I was going, and I said, well, I'm going home. And he said, no, you're not. You're going to stay here, and you're going to learn how to work on these instead of you paying me to do them, And like I said, I owe a lot of what I know, and the little tricks of the trade, so to speak, from him. Because really, to be honest, early and late 90s, there was not a lot of aftermarket performance parts that you could just buy right off the shelf. A lot of stuff, kind of had to be homegrown or, homemade, so to speak. And, it's kind of what led to what we have now between shift forks and rails and, an actual spacer kit that works. Back then you made your own spacers and, tweaked your own forks and, drilled or slotted your own rails, and, it wasn't the cleanest thing like most of them are today, but, it kind of paved the way to what we have today. So, So yeah, I owe Gary Barger a big thanks for that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool you've gotten into this or into the transmissions. It seems like there's a lot of guys, myself included, that gets interested in motors and how to make them, have more power and speed and this and that. And it seems like transmissions are always kind of the back of the thought. It don't matter if you're talking drag racing or you're talking, tractor pulling. It's kind of the second thought. So it's good we got people like you. So I know. Go ahead.
It's just something that me and Dad enjoy doing it together. All the machines and everything. It's at Dad's shop. So, so when we're working on them, we're at his house, and I just enjoy something with my dad.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't have that.
No, it's I hope to be able to pass it on to my son Josiah, but he knows a lot of terms about transmissions, but I don't think he's not quite there yet.
Yeah. How old's he?
He'll be 6 in May.
Yeah. They know more than you realize. I know you've heard me.
They do. They do.
Nephew. Man. So I know you've done a couple like full builds or several full builds for people. You want to talk any on that, or is that something you really put out there that you want to do, or?
Well, yes and no. I mean, we'd like I said, with the construction business and Dad, still dabbling in the farming. Winter time's a little slower, so we would always, take on one, or like this past year we took on 2 builds, and that was about all we wanted.
Yeah.
To be able to keep our stuff going and transmissions going, and then the full builds there, but we work with Doug and Dan Rude, on the chassis, and once they knock them out to a certain point, then we get them and kind of work a little magic on them. But I think we've done 4 builds, so two for Hackman and 1 for Chad Roush, and then the last one was for Wesley Bryant.
Yeah. Reason I mention it is because walking around these pools, there's some beautiful tractors around there, but I tell you what, yours and your dad's and Greg's and Wesley's they're probably up there at the very top of my favorite ones. I really like them. They're just good and clean looking tractors.
Oh, we try. That's all. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
As everybody says, we got the Skittles tractors. They're all all different colors. All different colors with a white hood.
Yeah, I love them. They're my favorite.
To me, I just like a clean look. It don't have to be an eye catcher or a bunch of stickers and different wild color paint. Clean is clean.
I agree. So
yes, sir.
About how many transmissions you think you've done?
We've talked about this a bunch, me and Dad. Between completes and rebuilds and just different odds and ends, we're well over 200.
Oh, wow.
At this point. So, you know,
You've learned a little bit.
Yes, and still learning. Yes, it's you try to make it easier for yourself each time. You know, we got a lot of little tools and stuff that we have made to make the job a lot easier. But you know, a lot of these castings, you know, for when they was made, they are very good. But for something that was made in the 60s, early 70s, you know, a lot of things are not perfectly in line.
Yeah.
You know, so there are a few castings that they do give you some fits, you know.
I have heard rumor from somebody that there was a year or two where Cubs castings were just a little bit thinner than others. Do you know of any truth to that?
Yes, there are, you know, a lot of the numbers, you know, model numbers on them. They don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know, once you figure one out, you think, oh well, it's this series here, and you know, and it's not. But there are a lot of them that, you know, especially for the Midwest ring, I don't even have to cut the rear out. You know, they'll slide right in. And then there are some that you know, it takes a good half hour to cut out. You know, just you know, castings are all different.
Yeah.
You know, most of them with the, you know, the gearbox, you know, where the axle housing bolts up and everything, most of that is pretty much the same. It's basically just the meat on the rear of the casting that some are a little thinner than others. So, you know, it's hard working on a Midwest aluminum casting and then having to work on a cadet cast housing. You know, it's those aluminum housings, they make life a lot easier. You know,
I had one that I won in a raffle, and I ended up selling it to Taylor Garner. But I had it long enough to look at it. Man, them things are Cadillacs. They are nice.
Yes, they have a lot of room. You know, meat is where it needs to be. You know, where you don't need that extra material. So, you know, from a builder aspect, it makes life a lot easier. That's just I always make sure I go through with the new ones and used ones. I just go through and do them all. You know, helical, all the threads in those aluminum ones, because they like to pull on you no matter how deep you take the boat. But other than that, they're a fine piece and a lot lighter, so makes them easier to throw around.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, buddy, I guess I'll wrap this up and let both of us get back to work here.
Yes, sir.
What's the best way to get a hold of you if I want a transmission built?
Oh, either Facebook or just stop and talk to me at a pool.
All right.
I try not to give my cell phone out any more than I have to. It rings enough as it is. So.
Oh, buddy, I understand that.
Not complaining, but I feel like I hear it sometimes in my sleep.
I understand. Well, buddy, I appreciate you doing this. Hopefully it
yes, sir.
helps some people and helps you a little bit. And you take care.
Well, you too, Dylan. I appreciate it.
All right, see you, buddy.
All right. Thank you, Ben.